up, guys, and welcome back to the episode of Bone Zone. So, on the topic of non-political topics, yeah, I said that, and it sounded better in my head. We're gonna be talking about like horror films and horror movies and like the supernatural and like whether or not we believe in it and like things that we believe and kind of stuff like that. And as always, if you enjoy videos like this one, make sure you give it a like and leave a comment below about what you find paranormal or like your paranormal experiences, like supernatural experiences, I should say. But yeah.
I don't think I have any particularly. Well, actually, I might, but I want to hear everybody else's if they do have one. I'll save mine for last.
I've got my handful of stories.
Me too.
Oh, go ahead and tell one.
So, believe it or not, I live right across from a house where a suicide happened. It was an old farmer, probably. I think it was like 200 years. No, colonial years, somewhere around there, where he hung himself. It is unclear as to why he did it, if he had any like reasons to hurt himself or any spite or anything else. All that is known is that he hung himself. And from that day forward, people have reported him in his house. People next door, people, 3 blocks down, stuff like that. We've had like a moment with him. Well, specifically me. Actually, no, I can't say that because it was a we sort of deal. Because I have a friend who supposedly can see the dead. And when she came over one day, she admitted to seeing a man in our yard. And we were just like, there's no man out there. And she's like, yeah, he's tall, skinny, wearing overalls and all that stuff. And I'm like, you don't think that, like does he, what does his face look like? He's like, I can't tell. He doesn't really have a head per se. Like, what the fuck? It's like, oh, that might be Fred.
The Headless Horseman.
My
I
mom's
think
like,
that might be. Well, you know how headless ghosts work, right? Headless ghosts are ghosts that have a lot of like anger and like spite in the world, and when they're stuck there, they have no head because they literally can't think for themselves.
Well, yes and no. You're partially correct.
They're just angry spirits.
Not necessarily angry per se. It's more so they left the world with a ton of anger in some way. They're not necessarily angry
They
people.
didn't leave the world though. They're ghosts.
Well, yeah, but I'm saying like they left the living. Like they left living. They
They
left
died
light.
while still very angry.
Yeah, that's what I'm trying to say.
I might be a headless ghost.
Continuing the topic though, I actually encountered him first person, and this was actually kind of a scary moment for me. I was in the kitchen, I was washing my hands, making dinner and everything, and when I had everything all set up, ready to go, I turn around, and because my kitchen is connected through a hallway to my living room, I turn around and look at the hallway, and I see this figure, and I remember it to this moment. Like, I very specifically remember this. He was tall. He was like 6'3", blue overalls. He was white, but he had no head. I do not remember seeing a head on him. And I had to do like a double take. And
Well,
he
you
was gone.
do
He
live in
wasn't there.
New York.
What does that have to do with anything?
Headless Horseman is in New York.
I thought that was a Pennsylvania thing.
I retract my statement.
Yeah,
had
I
to
thought
think
that was more
about that one.
I think that was more Pennsylvania.
Yeah, I was just saying it as like a joke.
But to this day, I remember that. It was such a fascinating moment in my life. Because I had doubts about the paranormal, but after seeing that, it stopped me for a minute and made me think. I've always had the sneaking suspicion that there was something paranormal in the world. There are some kind of spirits or phantoms in some way that can still affect this plane of existence, which is another bit of topic that goes into specters. But after that, yeah, the spectrum, and again, that's a whole new fucking bracket of talking about. It goes into like the theory of the multiverse and all that shit.
You mean like demonology or like?
Are you talking
What
about
is
the
it considered
omniverse?
demonology? Well, no, it's the idea of there being multiple layers behind what we can see. We don't.
It's an astral plane.
It's an astral
Yes.
plane, yeah.
Well, yeah, I know.
Well, no, I was saying that to. I was just confirming.
Yeah. I get it. Thank you for confirming.
I was dumb.
I even have another instance, but I don't want to take up the whole spotlight. Somebody else can have it.
Oh
from
my
there.
word, this thing is huge.
What about you, Brandon? You got any ghost stories? So I'm saving mine for last.
I don't personally have any that happened to myself, but being from the Chicago area, I've heard a lot of them. That are I know of some from the Chicago area that are just kind of weird.
I also know
There's
some
some
from the
very
Chicago
popular
area.
ones.
I can give you a ton of them.
Yeah. Interesting.
Well, me and you live like 30 minutes from each other.
Oh, I didn't know that. That's news to me.
I've known. I told you.
Oh, maybe you didn't. I just forgot then. Well.
Yeah, most likely. It's okay. No, it says I'm too far from the hosting player, but there's a crate. With me though, I think my ghost story is more from a hex than anything else.
Do you want me to say
Because
what
my
my
dad-
ghost story is first? Or do you
Oh
want
yeah,
me to
yeah.
go?
You go.
So there was this this is one of the few that I have. So when I was younger, I want to say like 2 probably. I lived in this house that was supposedly haunted. And I would always tell my mom about this thing called the man. And basically the man was essentially this tall guy with wearing a suit and a top hat. And like my mom would ask me like, "Oh, is he a good man? Is he a bad man?" And I would always like be like, "Oh no, he's not good or bad." And like one time my mom like was like, "Oh, well, when was the last time you saw this man?" And I was like, "Oh, he's right there." And I pointed up right between me and my mom.
Oh, that's spooky.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't fuck with kids, or I don't fuck with kids that do that shit.
You don't fuck with kids.
No, I don't fuck with kids. I don't like kids.
Don't fuck
They're
me
just-
either.
They're weird. They're creepy. Except Ben. Ben's cool. But like, they're weird. They're creepy, and they say the most out of pocket shit.
And
But
they can be
it's
extremely stupid. Life-threateningly stupid.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Well, then again, they don't know any better. But continue your story.
But apparently, according to my mom, like whenever we moved out of that house, I didn't speak of this man anymore. And I don't remember anything about him. Like he didn't even have a name or anything, but I would tell my mom, "Oh, he watches us when we sleep."
Nah.
thank
I
you.
would 100% grab whatever was necessary to purge whatever spirit was watching me fucking sleep.
Sage
So,
the
one
bathroom.
ghost story I do have from within my own family, and this is one from my mother, of the time that she spent a week at her grandfather's house, my great-grandfather's house down in Texas, to which this house had been built by them originally. Well, actually, it was her grandfather's father built the house from scrap wood he found from the area. Other buildings taken apart. So it was a really weird, not very big, but it was a 2-floor house. And
That's a weird amalgamation.
it was supposedly haunted. And my mom's experience there was when she went there, it was not too long after she had gotten married. And one time she took her ring off, it disappeared. Couldn't find it all week. And then the night before she's gonna leave, she asks one more time of the ghost, "Hey, you have my ring. I'd really like it back." And then, lo and behold, the next morning, when she woke up, the ring was sitting on her nightstand table.
That is fucking weird.
Yeah.
That is.
And
that
she
is
was just kind of
odd.
like, "You know what? Thank you." Took it, put it on, and left.
That's a pretty decent reaction. I feel.
That is interesting.
So should I say mine?
Yeah,
Go ahead.
I mean, if you're still willing to
Um,
want yours to be last, I have like 2 more.
I mean, yeah, go ahead. I'm just holding off because this one is long.
Okay.
Oh, go ahead and tell it. We can do a long one.
Yeah.
I'd like to hear yours.
Go for
Well, where to start? So as I said before, I'm fairly certain this was a hex that was put on my dad because he was dating a girl or a woman who was trying to do like witchcraft and shit like that, and it was more like black magic and white magic. I don't know what kind of magic it was, but it was sacrificial shit. Like not
so
sacrificing
ritualistic.
animals. Yeah, yeah. Ritualistic, yeah. It wasn't like sacrificing animals, but it was making weird effigies and shit, and like channeling gemstones and shit like that. It was weird shit.
Well,
that I couldn't wrap
gemstones
my head around.
aren't fully ritualistic; they're spiritualistic. But go on.
Well,
I'll
they're
just-
like
real
she
quick.
explained it. It's supposed to be like a catalyst.
Sorry.
for
Yeah,
spirits.
it is a catalyst, but like I said, it's spiritual, not really ritualistic, depending on the purpose of it. Most of the time, if you're going to use like gems, you're using more for like spirit channeling and stuff like that, as opposed to rituals. But go on.
You were gonna say, Brandon?
Do you still have that baby animal?
Yes, I do.
Come bring it here.
Okay. Yeah. So me and my dad are fairly certain this was like a hex put on by her, because my dad, being a scumbag that he is, he cheated on her, and I guess they did other ritualistic shit like soul binding and shit like that, from what my dad told
Really?
me, and yeah. Like she even like brought her friend who's a lot more accomplished in like Wicca and like fucking dark magic and shit. Well, I don't want to say Wicca is dark magic because it, whatever.
Well, that's why you said Wicca
facets to
and
it.
dark magic, because Wicca and dark magic are two they're like cousins of each other. Like they're somewhat related, but at the same time, like they're not an exact thing. And that's why I hate when people are like, "Oh, you use dark magic, so you must be a witch. You must be practicing Wicca," which is not at all the case.
But either way, whatever it was ritualistic in nature because she had like the books and shit for it. And best way to explain it was he wasn't faithful with her, and she found out, got really angry, whatever, and said that she's gonna curse him. And we're just like, whatever, because I heard the entire conversation, was like, whatever. But like, I want to say about a week afterwards, really fucking weird shit started happening in our house. Like, there was one instance my aunt had, before she passed away, God bless her soul. She had she was sitting on the couch on her phone playing phone games, and she
Baby
she
animal.
was sitting there. I already put it in there. She was sitting there on her phone playing games, and she like was hearing noises, like really odd noises. Like it wasn't like voices, it wasn't like footsteps, but it was like skittering, scratching noises, like in the walls.
Mm-hmm.
And we don't get rats where we were because it was way, way, way too densely populated, and not only that, we're in the fucking desert.
Mm-hmm.
And she's hearing these noises, and she's like, what the hell is that? And she's looking around, and the noise is just following. Like, when she would go, like maybe 10 steps forward, it sounds 10 steps further. And then when she'd walk back, or backwards towards the couch, it's like 10 steps forward. And she's like, what the fuck is this noise? Excuse my language. I don't know how language is on this stream or
You
show.
can swear. It doesn't matter.
Okay. She was like, what the fuck is that noise? And she sits down. She's like, whatever, trying to ignore it. And a fucking glass or a glass cat, or a cat, what the fuck? A glass cup goes flying across the room and smashes against the wall. She freaks the fuck out. And, you know, she's crying. My dad's trying to console her because we all heard the noise of the glass shattering, but we didn't hear the, you know, the skittering or anything like that. Only she heard that. And about, I want to say 3 days later, something similar happened, but what was creepy was that we had a metal cup that was kind of like a pen holder that was in the living room. It started moving in like an infinity sign, where it kept moving and moving very slowly. And me, my aunt, and my dad were watching this. We're like, what the fuck? And my dad grabs the cup and like picks it up and like looks at it and looks at the table and then sets it back down on a different place and continues. And
Wow.
Weird.
we're like looking at each other like, and we look at my dad and we're like, did she actually fucking hex us, or did she actually curse us? And he's like, I don't know. Don't look at me. It's like dumbfounded as all of you. And well, I think that same night after that happened, I was asleep. And after she said that she was gonna hex us, our bedrooms without the AC got fucking cold, like freezing temperatures. We would go in the living room. We checked the temperature with one of those temperature guns. We checked the temperature in the living room. You know, 70, 78, 80. You know, that's fine. That's normal. We go into my bedroom. It's 45.6. And in my dad's room, it's 32.9. And
Wow.
we're like, what the fuck is going on? And ever since then, there's been like little like conversations me and my dad and my sisters would have of crazy shit happening. Like, my sisters had like this little plug-in light mirror that they use for makeup. That went flying off their table, smashed into pieces, and it scared the shit out of my sister. I had dreams where like it was like flashing images of like photographs, like old photographs. And I remember one of the photographs stopped in my dream on like a pub, like a bar, but everyone's face was like swirled out or like scratched out. And then suddenly it was like an ear-raping scream. Like someone was in my face screaming at me, or at my, like, as hard as they can in my face. And it made me jump up, and I felt like I hit my head on someone, like forehead. Nothing was there. And I had a bruise on the top of my head. I was like, what the fuck is this? Like, what the hell is going on? And ever since then, like, that, we think that that house is either haunted, or that apartment is either haunted, or she actually cursed my dad. Because my dad says from time to time, he'll look in the mirror and something doesn't look right. Like, either, like, his pupils have, like, a red tinge. Not, like, glowing red, but, like, blood red speckles in them that are floating when he looks in the mirror. And he would ask my grandma, do you see anything in my ear, or in my eyes? And she's like, no, I don't see anything. You look fine. And also, like, he had a glass mannequin head. It spun 360 and stopped looking at him. There has been whispers in the closets and bathrooms. And I'm like, nah, you fucked up, Dad. You fucked up royally.
Nah, fam, I ain't going to your house.
Yeah,
Dead
nah.
ass. It was
I don't want to
so
meet
bad.
your dad. Your dad's
And-
bad luck
and-
now.
And he said it was so bad, like, that they ended up moving, but he thinks it followed him. Which is why I think it's a hex, because it's following him and fucking with him more and more. He's getting sicker. And after the hex, he actually was diagnosed with an autoimmune disease, not HIV, but he has fibromyalgia, which is the body's immune system attacking the nerves. And he has never had that before. This was only something that happened afterwards. So I'm like, you fucked up royally, Dad. That is some crazy shit. I mean, there's plenty of more I could talk about, but I feel like I've really gone a long time with this one. But like, I know how unreal that sounds. I know how like fucking horror movie it sounds. But after all that was said and done, I learned not to fuck with witches. Like, full stop, not to fuck with witches. Because my dad ended up doing research on, like, you know, how to, like, curse your, you know, like, whatever, or, like, was looking in the book that she had, or that she forgot to bring. And one of them was that you needed to have fruit, like a citrus. And you put whatever that person that wronged you's, like, hair, fingernails, skin, or whatever, into it. Wrap it in paper with the things that you hate about them, light it, and do like a soft chant to yourself. As well as evoking this one thing's like name. And we think that it's named like something along the lines of like Harald. Or some shit. Cause like he was looking at names and that was the one that was underlined. So it's scary. It is scary. That shit is frightening.
Yeah, that's messed up.
I mean, like, if we weren't streaming, I probably would have told you a lot, but I'm not going to get into all of it while streaming. Fuck. Just because it would take up a lot of time to explain every little detail, but yeah. Just for like a brief summary, if you are hexed, in any sort of way, it is also just as taxing for the person who did put the hex on you. And realistically speaking, if you were really angry at someone, the quickest thing to do would to be put a death curse on them, not necessarily a hex. If you wanted to put a hex on someone, typically you wouldn't do it for a very long period of time. And if you do, you need to either be you need to have like very strong magic to keep it on for that long, or B, you have to have some really, really, really fucking hard resentment and have a ton of people who are also channeling that same resentment and anger and whatever towards a specific person. Because the thing with
here's
hexes,
why I think it's that. Oh, sorry, continue.
Because the thing with hexes is it's kind of like, you know, when you're hacking someone, for example, you need to make sure that your device is on, or you need to make sure that you're checking to make sure that you're continuing to do whatever you're doing. Otherwise, it'll stop. That's how it is with a hex. You could, hypothetically speaking, be hexed. But based on what you're describing, I wouldn't necessarily consider that as a hex. What I think would be the more likely option would be that this specific person opened a portal in your house, and the portal is following you. That would be a more realistic option.
Oh, that's not me. I haven't had any problems since I moved out.
Not you. I'm saying your dad. I don't necessarily think that, because if it was a hex and most hexes for individual people would not be seen by the entire family. But portals would be. If someone opened a portal in your house, you would feel cold spots in random locations, sometimes in multiple locations.
I also use a Ouija board too, so that could.
That is the portal, and if you're carrying that portal every time you move, then it is gonna follow.
Well,
Portals
no, that's
are
not.
stuck
That's the
to
thing,
specific
though.
things.
That's the thing, though. this is not something that is from a Ouija board. We have a Ouija board that is not closed, quote unquote, and it hasn't done anything. We did talk to something, not in that house, but I mean like here at my grandparents, and nothing has happened.
Well, the difference with Ouija boards and like opening a portal, Ouija boards do open a temporary portal, but as long as you say goodbye, then
We never did anything like that.
Well, even if you don't say goodbye and make sure that it's resolute, so meaning like you're not just being like fuck off or something like that, most of the time the portal can close on its own or will be so small that not really much can get through it. And if stuff does get through it, then that's going to be more of an issue of like lesser demons, lesser ghosts. But the portal that I'm specifically talking about is portals that are a direct link to like the 9 rings of hell kind of thing. Like the whole entire thing is certain portals can, depending on who's doing them, can have more detrimental effects. If you have a portal in your room or a portal in the house, spirits like demons and stuff can come out of the portal, as well as can end up fucking with you. And even just having a portal can cause delusions. You will have like random cold spots throughout the house, like, and I'm saying extreme cold spots. So like you were saying, when you had like one room that was like 80 and the other room was like 45, like that kind of
Well,
thing.
80 was normal in the living room.
That's what I'm saying. Like you'll have one room that's 80 and then that other room will be like 45. It'll be very fucking cold.
Well, here's how I know it's a hex too, because you did state the one thing I was gonna say, which was she would have to give a little bit of herself.
Yeah, essentially.
She went insane. Like, she was homeless, and she still, like, she was homeless. She was absolutely crackpot insane. She was, like, covered in scars. Like, face, neck, arms, everything. And they look like scratches. And she is scary to look at now. And I'm trying to think. The reason why that's the main reason why I think it's a hex. But I think that she must have like done something that she gave a part of herself with. Like maybe like a drop of blood, or maybe something like from her physical self to make it stronger. And that's why
Maybe.
Following you, Brandon. You were saying?
I said maybe. I mean, hypothetically speaking, yes, you're right. At the same time, you're not. The thing with the hex is that you do not necessarily have to give a part of yourself. The only issue that I would see with the hex is the soul binding. If you're genuinely serious about the soul binding in the aspect of she and your dad's soul bonded or whatever, it would be a lot harder for her to do a hex because she would inadvertently be hexing herself.
And that's what I think happened. I think out of spite, she hexed my dad, and because she is soul binded, quote unquote, with him, she's getting half of it too.
Yeah. Since she is, plus also the thing with curses and hexes is that the sender of the hex, or like the creator of the hex, will also get like, especially if it's like a death hex. I don't necessarily know what hex she would have on you guys, on your dad specifically, but death hexes come with a lot of burden in like the demon realm and stuff, or like with demons, or just like with spirits in general.
It sounds like a leech is what it sounds like, or an imp.
Yeah, like there's a lot, and I don't want to take up this whole episode of like trying to explain like hexes and like their true meanings and like what it can mean if something happens or something goes wrong. But like, yeah, like she would basically be getting what, and this is why I don't think it's fully a hex, because she would be getting back everything tenfold. So like let's say for example, your dad, the demon breaks a cup, right? Well, for her, she would have a demon breaking a window. Like, she would be getting it back tenfold. So unless she is fucking, like, you know, like, her dad accidentally gets cut by a knife. Now she's getting cut with 1,000 knives. Like, everything that she has would be, like, amplified to the max. So I don't necessarily think that it's fully a hex.
I'm on your left, Brandon, or right, Brandon.
It sounds more of just a curse.
Yeah.
Something. I'm not sure. I'm not quite sure exactly, but I know what I know. I've seen what I've seen, and that shit was real. Like, that shit scarred everyone in the house. Like, especially that nightmare, because now that I remember more, it was, the screaming wasn't disembodied. Like, the scream in my face. When I was sleeping, after the picture, it was almost like a jump scare out of nowhere, where it was just like a green, eyeless, like, rotting face screaming at me. Like, in agony, it sounded like.
Like a
Either
zombie kind of
agony
face, or
hatred.
like a...
No, not a zombie. It was eyeless and green. Not, and it looked like it was sunken, not rotting. And it scared the ever-living fuck out of me. I was sweating.
Cause, like,
felt
okay,
my heart rate. My
like,
heart was
that-
going apeshit.
The thing is, like, that could be really bad. I'll explain after the episode. That could be really bad for even you. Even if you never got cursed. By you seeing that could be bad.
Well, I mean, I'm still here.
Well, yeah, I'm not saying you're gonna die tomorrow, but, like, it's bad.
Alright, well, yeah, tell me after the show.
But I also have another paranormal activity, or paranormal event, not paranormal activity. Well, one of the things that kind of happened to me when I was younger as well. This was more like when I was like an older, like I was more like 8. I wasn't necessarily like young. But when I was like 8 or 9, there was this person who I'd met, and she was like a girl, and she still sticks with me. Like, I still talk to her sometimes. Like, she's one of my like ghost spirit friends. But I didn't know what her name was, and for the longest time, I thought that she had died in a fire because I can actually speak to ghosts. But one of the most scariest things that I thought had happened was that there was a black, okay, so it was a completely black silhouetted person, figure thing, and it had reached its like clawed hand out of the closet in my room. Because my closet used to be a portal. And, like, I watched it, like, grab on and, like, walk out. And it had, like, it had a face and everything. So it wasn't, like, something, like, faceless. But it was a completely blank face. Like a Slenderman-esque face, but completely black. And it had these long, like,
You saying
claw-like
that
hands.
reminded me of something that my aunt also told us before she passed away. You continue though. I'll tell you after.
But anyway, it like revealed itself, I should say, and like I like watched it as it moved like out of my room, like disappearing basically, and like I never saw it again, but I still like feel a presence, like somewhat like in other parts of my house, like not in my room because I like blessed my room. I did like a 4-corner spell, but anyway, yeah, I still kind of feel it, like, at the nape of my neck kind of thing. Like, I just feel it breathing down my neck.
God, you scared me for a moment there,
You scared me too.
Austin.
That's crazy.
I did it.
I always
Sorry.
believe in just
I need a
the
drink.
demonic shit. I just, there's always some evil to balance out good. Because everyone
let
knows
me-
angels and everything.
Let me explain the one thing that I remember my aunt telling me that it like unnerved me. was that there was another moment where we heard her scream and start crying out of nowhere, like sobbing, because she was laying in my dad's bed on the left side, and across the bed is my dad's entertainment center with the TV, and then to the left of that is the closet, and to the very right is the door out of the room, facing
Okay.
the right wall. And there was, from what she told us, was that she was, just playing on her phone, usually, because that's what she did at the time. She was just on her phone, like playing games, and she saw my dad's closet open a little bit. And after what happened, because this was after the original scare, after what had happened, she was really unnerved already. And after because the closet just opened and then that was it. And she was like, oh, maybe it's the wind. And she starts, she's looking down on her phone, and she starts feeling really fucking uneasy. And after about half an hour, she, looked up, and there was, a wide grinning man peeking, and then suddenly coming back into the room and coming back into the closet and slamming the closet as hard as it can. Shook the wall.
Oh, God.
And it scared her so fucking bad, she was sobbing. And we're like, what the fuck is happening? Because we all, jumped up after we heard the bang and took off running to our room. Or to my dad's room. And she couldn't even get her words out. She was, sobbing that hard because it scared her so bad. And she said down the line, this was a man who was grinning from physically ear to ear. With,
smile
big eyes. Yeah, with, big eyes. And she only caught a glimpse of it because as soon as she made eye contact with it, that's when it fucking dipped into the closet.
It's secretly Jeff the killer.
Jesus.
I showed her Jeff the killer. I'm like, did it look like this? And it freaked her out even more. Asshole me. But, she was, pretty fucking similar, but not the same. It was like a thin head. Like a head that is almost crushed in more than than normal. It almost looked like it was, when you crush a baby doll head from the sides? It looked like that, and then suddenly back into the closet.
Why did that give me fucking, I was gonna say Death Eater, oh my god, Soul Eater vibes?
But since that fucking thing, my dad, because after that, my dad took it seriously. My dad took it hella seriously because my aunt is not someone to just make, just make that kind of thing
Holy
up
shit.
or make that kind of.
Something clicked. Oh no.
And she just fucking, or what my dad did is he had not a priest, but like a minister, like an ordained minister from my grandfather's church, because Mormons can do exorcisms, believe it or not. It's different, but they can do exorcisms. They don't burn sage, but they, I think what it was that they read from the scripture while also simultaneously, pouring holy water along the hallways.
Well, okay, sage burning is for cleansing. If you're trying to do an exorcism, use holy water and salt.
Yeah, it was a mixture of holy water and salt, basically.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. If you're trying to cleanse your room or purify it, then you use sage. But if you're trying to do an exorcism, holy water and salt.
But the guy said something was not right with the house, and he didn't think that he could. He would try his best, but he didn't think that it could be cleaned. So he did that, and he was reading the book, and for whatever reason, the book flipped a page without him touching it. And he looked up at us and looked back at the book and just flipped it back over and continued, and then it flipped back over again. And he's like, I think it doesn't want me to finish. It's annoying, but I don't think it wants me to finish. I don't think I can actually do this. Because he held it, and he was able to do it, but it didn't feel clean. Like the scripture did not do anything, or the Bible didn't do anything. So he's like, this is something greater than what I can do. You're going to have to get a priest. And like, it got so bad that my dad ended up moving all the things out of the closet, or all the clothes out of the closet, and stacking a bunch of boxes up into the closet so nothing could actually stand in there.
Yeah. If only that worked.
Yeah, I mean, it never happened again, but it scared all of us, because my dad ended up opening that closet and there was nothing there. It was just fucking freezing. It was like 20 degrees at most.
Like I'm saying, probably a portal. That closet was probably the biggest portal that you had in the house.
You want to hear something fucking scary, which clicked? Is I saw the same fucking thing when I went to an abandoned asylum last year. The same fucking thing, like crushed head, smiling.
Well, it wasn't like it was thin. The head was just thin. It wasn't like crushed. It was like if you took a baby doll and like pressed it and looked at it, like pressed the sides of its head and then looked at it straight on. That's what the head looked like.
Yeah.
That's
Looked
weird.
exactly like how you're fucking explaining it. Oh my god, I won't forget this. We were, me, my friends, we were going all around around the whole building. We're looking for an entrance into this place. And then we find a storm grate that led to the morgue. Straight up, like a window that was busted in leading to the morgue. Me being as stupid as I fucking was, I looked down into it. And I look around, there's nothing there. I look over and everyone's staring at me with flashlights. They're like, wait, what do you see anything down there? And for one instance, I look down and I see a face, like really, it was like way down in the hallway. But it was white. And I remember seeing a grin. And I jumped back and I'm like, dude, how about we just stay out here for right now? I remember seeing that. That stopped my heart. I looked at that and I was like, because it was staring at me. It knew I was there, and it did not want me there. Fucking for real. Oh, God. I will not forget that.
Maybe
I
someone
want
was
to visit a
using that.
place like that, but oh fuck, I'm like terrified of what I might see.
I would honestly go fucking urbex shit and maybe even bring some paranormal gear, like a millimeter.
I
and
wouldn't
shit
want
like that.
to urbex it. I want to go to Waverly Hills, do something like that. But
Yeah, I
ugh.
would have loved to have like an EMF detector and shit like that. Like that, I want to do that. I want to do my own little ghost.
I want
hunt
to
see if I
know
can...
that I'm not gonna run into homeless people there.
Well, yeah, obviously.
Yeah.
And if you run into a homeless, like everyone that ghost hunts has a pocket knife, or a knife of some sort.
Yeah.
You
I
need
would love
something
to
to
ghost
defend
hunt.
yourself.
I would love to ghost hunt. That sounds like so much fun, but holy
Ghost
shit, am I
adventures in
scared to
real
do
life.
it.
Oh,
I mean,
well,
I
we
wouldn't mind
could.
doing it.
Yeah, what about we start talking about that, because I think we're pretty unnerved and into the feels of this this bone
Oh
zone.
yeah.
Yeah, my hairs are sticking up on its end, and I'm actually really happy because I love this feeling. This feeling of confusion and mystery, but mixed with, like,
The fear of the unknown makes
the
my
fear
nipples
of the
twitch.
unknown. Yeah, it actually gives me, like, a tingle that makes me feel, like, confused, really, like, curious, but fearful, you know? And not a lot of things give me fear. That gives me fear.
I'm really
Well-
not scared.
Have you, or Brandon, I'm behind you. Have you guys ever done like a ghost hunt or done anything?
Oh
like...
yeah, I can tell you all
of
those
that sort?
stories.
Yeah, go ahead.
So I actually have ghost hunting equipment like EMFs or like that kind of thing. EMF readers. I have spectrograms. Not spectrograms. Fucking, what are those things called? The things where you can like see the heat signatures. I don't know what
Fucking.
those called. I have some of those. I have like shit like that. Cause me and my friend when we were little, we used to like download all these ghost hunting apps and like see, oh my god, there's a ghost. We can see it through the fake app. But then we actually got into it, like into fighting real ghosts.
Yeah.
And we actually bought equipment, and one of the most freakiest fucking times that I still remember, like clear as fucking day, because of what it said. So we would usually go local, like we wouldn't go anywhere that far. But there was this place, it used to be like an old medical center, like medical office, before it like closed down. I don't remember why it closed down. But like, it wasn't like, I don't think anyone died there, but it was like a kind of something like that. And it's right next to a cemetery. So we would sit in the medical office and like, or like in the, like we would go inside of the building and we would like try channel. And like, there was one time that said like, it literally yelled in the mic behind you. And we turned around and there was like something glowing behind us. Like full on fucking white as fuck glowing just behind us. And like my friend tried to move closer to like actually see it because like, you know, that's kind of what she would do. And it launched at her and she had like, I don't talk to her anymore. Like we haven't talked in years, but she had this big gash from like the like underside of like the like left part of her neck, like at the very bottom, down to like her almost to her belly button, like a long gash. And I mean, it wasn't even that deep or anything like that. Like luckily there was like no stitches or anything required, but it was like a long cut, and we don't know what caused it, but we know that it had to be from that.
Demons are usually depicted from scarring of such things or gashes.
Did you die, Brandon?
Usually
No,
they're
did you?
significant with 3,
Earlier,
number
yeah.
3. So you'll usually see claw marks of 3 or usually 1, but never 2. 2 are another specific kind of demon, so it's hard to depict from what I hear.
It is. You're right.
Yeah.
But I remember that happened to my mother too. My mother was talking about like she got woken up in the middle of the night and found that her arm was scratched.
Well, you
like
live in one of the
long
horror
nail.
capitals of the world. Like
Yeah.
one of the ghost capitals of the world.
We actually have a bunch of haunted fucking places near me. Like we have
Well, yeah, a state
asylum.
with that much history, I can only imagine how many like unhappy souls are there. Or
We're just a really unhappy fucking state, dude. Everyone hates it here. It rains all the time, and we just don't know why.
I would
The
love
rain
that.
is the rain makes us fucking miserable. So we come back to curse the rain gods.
It's currently raining in Minecraft.
The rain gods are displeased.
But do any of you guys have any more stories to go to say or to want to say or anything like that?
One, and it's short. I was awake one night and all of a sudden I hear scratching because I have an attic door right beside my bed. So I'm here playing games at night. You know, my parents are asleep and everything. The cats are outside. There's nothing I can do. There's nothing that should be causing the scratching or nothing.
Mm-hmm.
And then all of a sudden, I hear scratch, like long, like irritating nails against wood scratching. And I look at the door, and it's coming from the door, specifically.
Oh, yeah.
Shut the fuck up, dude. You actually have cheese on your breath. I can smell it from here. Gouda smoked.
It's rude.
Bad. But yeah, I never opened the attic door when I heard that. I just stood there. I was like, bruh, that staying in the fucking. That's staying in the attic. That's staying in the attic, dude. I ain't fucking with that. No.
Understandable. But I think I'm gonna end the episode here unless any of you guys have any more stories.
I think I'm good. I don't really have many or much.
I'm fucking beat right
think
now. I
good.
worked an 11-hour shift for for those of you watching the video. I worked an 11-hour shift, so right now I'm very tired and I have to work again tomorrow
Oh shit.
and Monday. Fuck. But yeah. Anyway, guys, thanks for watching. I know this was kind of a shorter episode, and we didn't do one last week. Well, we're gonna adjust it. The last episode will be like a lot longer. It's gonna consist of more than just Minecraft. Like, there's gonna be a lot of things. It's gonna be great. It's gonna be great. I can't speak anymore because that's how tired I am. But yeah, thanks for watching. Make sure to like and subscribe for more videos like this one, and I'll see you in the next one.